Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Story Nook. Today, we are going to be reading not stories, but a Reddit thread. So go ahead, grab your tea, your hot cocoa, your coffee, whatever it is you want to drink, and we shall jump in. This question is: people born before or around 1990. Often it's asked what things you think people born after then are worse off without. What's something you're glad young adults and kids today will never have to experience or understand? Our first response is being stuck on the side of the road with car issues and no good way to get help. You might be lucky and have someone stop, or you could be in a remote location with a really long wait before anyone would find you. Which is actually something like I never thought about. Oftentimes people would have to leave their car and then go walking to wherever they think the nearest gas station or something with a gas can from the trunk, or to go and call for a tow truck. Losing childhood friends just because they moved. Most of the time it was like they died. You never see them again. Maybe you would write letters. You could try calling them long distance if they wrote you their new number, and your parents would let you make a long distance call. I had a couple of friends, acquaintances that I made over the years in school. We never swapped socials or emails or anything, so I do not have contact with most of the people I went to school with that I talk to on a daily basis. So much so I just barely I have a vague memory of them and that's it. I moved around a lot growing up. One of those moves was in high school, which wasn't too many years after we got internet in our house. My mom was apologetic that I'd be moving away from my friends once again and had a difficult time wrapping her head around my telling her I actually wouldn't have a difficult time staying in touch for once. Hearing that someone has AIDS and immediately knowing they are going to die. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around how much that has changed. When I was in high school, AIDS was a 100% fatal, a death sentence. Which, yeah, a lot of people forget that AIDS was not curable. People smoking inside everywhere. Oh, yeah. Everyone used to smoke inside. Everyone. You could go to Golden Corral. I want you to picture this. Think of Golden Corral, and then everyone smoked inside. Like, I have bad lung and breathing problems because everyone in my family smokes, and they all smoked around me. It didn't matter. They smoked like a freight train. But every time we went somewhere, we sat in the smoking section, so my mom could have a cigarette during her meal. Going into a restaurant, smoking or non-smoking, right? The peeing and not or non-peeing section of the pool. That's an opt way of putting it. There were so many places where you really question what the point was of them having the separate sections. I recall going to a restaurant once and being seated in a booth in the non-smoking section, and the smoking section was in the booth right next to mine, separated by a small divider. There was someone smoking at the same distance away from me as the distance between the driver and passenger seat of the car. Yeah, which I remember, I think I went to Golden Corral with, my grandma Niji a couple of times, and I don't recall her ever smoking when she had us. I've seen photographs of her with a cigarette in her hand, so I think she smoked at one point. But I know she took us to Golden Corral a couple of times and had us lie about our ages and say we were younger. But I do remember, we also had that happen. We would sit and I think non-smoking, but the smoke from the smoking section would just waft over anyway, so it's yeah. The horror of accidentally hitting the internet or web button on your T9 flip phone. I don't know what a T9 flip phone is, but I guess it would make things difficult. On a similar note, character limits on SMS and monthly SMS limits, aka you only had so many characters that you could send in a text message, and you had a limit on how many characters or how many messages you can send in a month, depending on your plan. And so, like, my first phone was like that. It was a prepaid phone, and you had to pay for, like, every character you would text. And that was in 2000. Was it 9? I think it was 9. I think I was in high school. Or getting charged 25 cents per text message, which later went down to 10 cents. My friends and I used to send each other texts that simply said 25 cents just to piss each other off. Anyone else remember free nights and weekends when minutes didn't apply? Like, that is hilarious. And then parents would be like, what on earth did you do? Why is the phone bill so expensive? Typing up a paper you've worked for hours on and your computer gets switched off for whatever reason, blackout, wire got pulled out, etc. There was no autosave. If you forgot to save, you were fucked. Yeah, that is true. I remember, like, I did so many, like, art projects and stuff, and, like, there was no autosave. I had projects on computers. I didn't back them up to emails or, like, hard drives because I just did not have those. Floppy disk. Floppy disk could only hold so many things. Like, they could only hold so many megabytes. I had a couple of floppy disks. That's what I kept, like, certain school projects on. I had one floppy disk that was just Sonic X screenshots from the anime. I still compulsively hit Control S often. Google Docs actually has the save button in the file drop menu and is a hotkey, but it does nothing. Gdocs saves every time you enter a single character, but they kept the save option because people like me were losing their minds not being able to save every 20 seconds. When I'm playing modern games, I'm never fully convinced the autosave is really saving my game. That is true. And someone's like, I still don't trust autosave. Even with cloud saving, same. I don't give a fuck. Let me save it properly. Wrote this above, but my earliest high school essays were on a typewriter. It sucked. But the works cited page still gives me PTSD. PTSD. Oh. Yeah, funny fact, my mom had a typewriter. So when I was learning to type, I would type on her typewriter at home. Forgetting to set the VCR to record your favorite show. I am so glad my mom set up the VCR to record Sailor Moon off of Toonami for me and my sister. And then, like, she would take that whole recording, cut out all the commercials from it, and leave in just Sailor Moon and the robot bits. It was great. Or recording over something important, accidentally recording something new. We've done that a couple of times. I remember we got into a camcorder, like a little handheld camcorder kind of thing. That's one of my relatives, like my parents, I think, had. My sister, I got into it. And there was a tape in there, and I don't know what was on this tape, but we recorded over whatever it was. Or missing the last 5 minutes of the show because the VCR clock was wrong. Developing your film from your family's one vacation of the year, only to discover that your amazing photos were dark, blurry, red-eyed, mid-blink. There was a flash reflection, the film only half advanced, or you miscounted, and the very last shot you were saving was actually number 25 on a 24-shot roll, so you never got the photo you thought you took at Yellowstone. I remember when red eye reduction first came around and it was like magic. Now I can't think of the most recent photo I've seen with any red eye at all. So much better now. I do remember my sister and I, we loved when the photographs accidentally had red eye because we're like, ooh, we're demonic. That was super funny for us. People secretly listening to your conversation on landline. I had a friend's dad listen to a call the morning before I was to sleep over to his house. We were discussing these prank calls we made to our classmates' house a few days earlier. So several hours later, I get my friend to my friend's house, and his dad proceeds to beat the ever-living shit out of the kid so I can see what real discipline was. I'm not talking spanking, I'm talking a full beat down. It's been 40 years, and I think that guy is still sucking wind. I saw him a few years ago, and I was terrified. Yeah, back in the day, also, you could just beat the ever-living daylights out of your child. Like, not a spanking with a switch, but you could just beat the ever-living daylights out of your child. My mama did that shit often. Most of the time, it was just screaming and yelling, but she did do beatings. But I do remember with the landline, it was really easy to just pick up the phone and listen in. I would pick it up and then someone would be on it and I would be like, okay, weird, and then hang up the phone. Having to keep quarters in case you find a payphone if you were out and needed to call somebody. Called, collect, and my name was, we're ready to be picked up. Don't forget, Bob, we had a baby. Bob, we had a baby, it's a boy. The movie got out early, pick me up. Right? Call, collect, and have to speak real fast. If you forgot your quarters. Having to be there when your show came on. Commercial breaks, you had to hurry to go to the bathroom or get something to eat and drink. My brother and I learned pretty early on that the last ad before the show came back on was usually for another show on that channel. If getting foods, drink, one of us would look out and call out when the last ad came on. Gave the other 30 seconds to finish up and get back into the lounge room. It was kind of fun, but I'm not sure I miss it. Yeah, I do remember that. Like, my brother and sister, my sister did it too. My brother did it a lot. Especially, like, if commercials came on, he would just channel flip to another channel to watch whatever that was until the commercial was on. And I remember being so annoyed because I'm just like, I want to watch my show. And I remember, like, I had to get up and pee. Kiki's Delivery Service was playing on the television. I think it was either ABC or Disney Channel. And I remember saying, don't change the channel, as I went to go pee. And someone's like, it's back on! Yeah, all the screaming. Chicken pox scares. I still have some of mine, and it's been almost... Chicken pox scars. Oh! I guess I got lucky. I don't think I have any of those. I still have some of mine, and it's been almost 30 years. Just wait till you get shingles. Got it last about a year ago at age 43. Never had any scars from chickenpox, but I got one above my lip from shingles. I was very lucky, and my case was pretty mild. I've talked to several that have had their case was extremely painful. A guy from work described as having the worst sunburn you had ever had, and anything that touches it feels like you were scratching the sunburn with 80 grit sandpaper. No GPS to find an address, and your dad is too proud to ask for directions. Right. Oh, yeah. I have no sense of direction. I get lost in, like, stores a lot of the time where I'm just like, where is the exit? How did I even get here? So I'm just like, yes, GPS. I'm so glad none of us are getting lost. And we all have a GPS just in our hands as long as we have signal. As a paramedic, this tops my list. Getting directions is huge, of course, saving several critical minutes. The biggest is driving down long back country roads. They didn't have the numbers on the street, so you have to slowly roll up to each address with your floodlights, reading the house numbers one by one. A polite fuck you to anyone had that cursive house numbers. To anyone that had those cursive house numbers. Don't get me wrong, I love GPS, but I'm glad that I learned to find places without it. I delivered pizzas for years without a smartphone. I look at a map and the phone book, memorize the route, and go. I only need to look up a street once and I remember how to get there forever. With GPS, I can go somewhere 10 times and still not remember how to get there the 11th time on my own. Yeah, that is one thing, especially like none of us know anyone's phone numbers. We barely know our own. People overestimate how available AC was. It was not something everyone had. And in cars, too. I cannot imagine my long commute in a hot car ride like that. The real hell was a school bus full of preteens that didn't understand how much they stink. Banding yourself with one hot seat belt buckles and steering wheels way too hot to hold. And if you did have it, you'd only have it one or two rooms, one of which was the parents' room. I knew several families in normal suburban homes where all the kids would bring their sleeping bags and sleep on the floor in their parents' room during the summers. Yeah. I think my dad set up his house so, like, the AC worked throughout most of the rooms, because my dad likes to keep his house at 60. So I'm quite glad for that. I'm quite a bit older, but growing up in the 70s and 80s, bullying and fights were just an acceptable part of growing up. I kept my head low and did my best to get along, but the level of truly abusive bullying, hazing, and more or less prison yard behavior at my junior high / middle school would set your hair on end. I honestly don't think kids will believe what went down. Not good. People have absolutely no idea. I grew up in a rural area, so it was even worse. My best friend, still to this day, is the one who stuck his neck out to defend me when it felt like I was at war with the whole school. He loudly proclaimed to the whole band room that I was cool and to stop fucking with me so much. It was like totally unexpected backup finally arrived that I had been pinned down for years. Calling your friend's landline and having to converse with the family member that answered the phone, also picking up the phone when it was ringing and having no idea who it could be. Dial up in those buffering times, and getting kicked off the internet if someone made a call on the house phone. In a world before the internet, if you lived in a place where you were different than everyone else and were outcast, you could not find others like you on the internet, and it created a feeling of isolation that isn't possible today. Smoke in your face everywhere, all the time. And with that, it's been about 15 minutes of recording. So we're going to end this here. I hope you all enjoyed it. I haven't read anything off of Reddit in so long. I decided since I finished I'd rather have a cat than a harem, I should read something off of Reddit. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you all are having a great day, enjoying everything. This was like a fun read. And to really think about, like, because I was born in the mid 90s. I'm a 94 baby. So, like, growing up, like, I remember having a house computer, but I don't remember when exactly we got internet. I know there was internet at my grandparents' house when I moved in like 2006. I don't recall if it was like dial up or anything. I do know like my house computer must have had internet because like when Sailor Moon finished airing, my mom tried to find more Sailor Moon for us. And I know she downloaded the Sailor Moon albums from Germany and Japan and burned them on the CDs for us. She also found some spicy Sailor Moon art that accidentally got downloaded and put into a random folder that we were able to find at some point, but I don't recall ever accessing the internet from it. So, thank you all so much for being here. Have a nice day. What are some stuff that you're glad that people nowadays are not going to have to deal with anymore, especially those that are growing up currently? And with that, let me go ahead and thank the Patreon and Ko-fi supporters: Kaleidoscope Chick, Tweet Tea Cakes, Axel1154, Cassie G, Jedus DS, Axel Alcaraz, Semi Random Sevens, and Micah. Thank you very much. You're all so wonderful. I hope you have a lovely day. Remember to stay safe, stay hydrated. If you want your names read at the end of these credits, support me on Patreon. You get all my artwork and stuff for free. There's also like uh postcards, desktop wallpapers you can download. You also get like exclusive polls you can vote in. Ko-fi, you can commission me there. I've got my commissions up over there. I do $1 quick, adorable, like silly scribbles. I think I might also have some voice acting up there. You can buy one of my comic books is there and some coloring book pages. And so yeah. Other ways you can support me, leave comments, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please the YouTube algorithm. Story Nook is only at like 60 subscribers. I'm hoping by 2026 to be around 100, maybe. I would love to become monetized at some point for Story Nook. With my main channel, Chrissy Duffy, we're not at monetization. We are just missing the watch time. So if you just want to put on any of those videos on the background and help boost that, that would be awesome. Other ways you can support me, am I write books, I write short stories, mostly in the romance, cute, fluffy, gay shit kind of genre. So if you're interested in those, you can get any of my books as ebooks at most ebook retailers. You can also find my artwork and get it on stuff from Redbubble. So that is also happening. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Remember to stay safe, stay happy, all that good jazz. Bye bye.